1990, thereabouts, 89, 91, was a very strange time to release a game, especially in the arcades. Following the crash of 83, a lot of arcades closed down, and really the only way arcade machines could survive was in what were called family entertainment centers like Chuck E. Cheese, Showbiz Pizza, Pistol Pete's, whatever you might have. And even then, that trend was really starting to die down. On the console side of things, the NES was on the way out, the 16-bit systems were on the horizon, the Apple II was about to be replaced by the Macintosh, and this was a really scary time for developers because they would have spent all these years developing a game and suddenly release it into a potentially uncertain market. This happened to Prince of Persia, which was originally developed on an Apple II. Now, like I said, this came out about 89, 90 thereabouts, so it was about to be made obsolete by the Macintosh. So Broderbund, in their wisdom, very graciously, tried to port the game to as many systems as they could. So there wasn't just an Apple II version, but a Windows, DOS rather, the Mac version, also several consoles. The NES, the Super NES, the Genesis, the Game Boy Color, just any system they could get this onto. And this also happened to a game called Rampart. Rampart was created by Midway, developed by Midway and published by Atari for the arcades. And again, arcades were on the way out as well, because this was before Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter II would really bring arcades back, sort of be a little bit of a boost to them. So Rampart got given the same treatment. It was released for a lot of different consoles. I first played it on a friend's Atari Lynx, and then sometime later I played it on the Sega Genesis. And I remember kind of liking the game. I thought it was very interesting, very odd, and didn't seem like something that belonged in the arcades. It was a strategy game. Strategy games aren't in arcades. You don't stand up at a cabinet and pop quarters in to play a strategy game. They require a little more contemplation, cerebration. With arcade games, you want a steady flow of people and or quarters. So a strategy game doesn't sound like it should really work. But it does somehow. And the game did really well, despite the market, and the ports all got a lot of success, especially the NES version. Like I said, I played it on the Lynx and on the Genesis, and I thought it was pretty good. Then around the Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation era, the game really kind of disappeared. I think the only version that existed around that time was on the Game Boy Advance, packaged with Gauntlet. It really wouldn't be until Midway Arcade Treasures came out for PS2, Xbox, GameCube, PC, and in my case PSP, that the game would be playable again. And I decided to come back to the game after playing stuff like Plants vs. Zombies and reading about Demigod and Defense of the Ancients and all these tower defense games. And I remembered, well, Rampart was a tower defense game. In fact, it was a tower defense game before the term existed. So I'd like to share that with you. I'd like to show you this game that inspired Plants vs. Zombies, Defense of the Ancients, Demigods, any sort of real-time or turn-based strategy game. A lot of them all came from this one single title called Rampart. So here we go.